I have so many rocks out here that I have been sleeping under them when it comes to the SCX10 III. It has been out for a while, but I figured it is time to do a review. So today, that's what we're gonna do. I'm John Holmes with Holmes Hobbies, and today is the SCX10 III review. As you can see, we have a built SCX10 III here. With the veritable cornucopia of rigs on the market, I decided that I wasn't going to get one more rig for the stable. However, one of my employees, Jeff, he decided that he was going to get one. And as you can see, he even installed a little driver in there, Billy Bob. Does Billy Bob come with a kit? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But what we're going to do is go through on the rocks, see how it performs, and also talk about some of the finer aspects of this kit. I will say that the only thing that we aren't running that is in the kit is the tires. We are running the Proline Mud Terrain TAs, and the wheels are gearhead wheels. I don't believe these are made anymore, but that's what they are, gearhead wheels. But otherwise, pretty much stock vehicle. So this one has hidden body clips. As you can see, nice smooth body. There's nothing external that you can easily see as far as the body mount. And as far as scale goes, that is pretty cool. Kind of a little bit of a pain to get these clips out, but it could be worse. It could be worse. If you got big hands, well, you know what they say about that. It's going to be hard to get these body clips out. That's exactly what they say. So you take those clips out, you throw them on the rock somewhere where you will surely lose them, and now our body comes off. We also have the light kit installed from Axial. Nice little light kit, so it seems. And honestly, a pretty nice body. A nice touch, I'm gonna say nice like 18 times in this sentence. A nice touch, I think, is that they have the grill, which is slightly, they got the, the holes in it, the Jeep holes, and then the radiator behind that. So it has a really nice 3D aspect to it. And part of that is also the body mount. So it's kind of a one big plastic unit. As you can see, they got the light buckets, they got the radiator mount on the back of the grill, and then bolted on fairings, I suppose these are, mud flaps, whatever you want to call it. And then same for the rear. Then the the interior bolts in. So it's a multi-part body, kind of a cool design. It looks nice in 3D and scale. It does come with, all the little accessories like your windshield wipers. The mirrors we did not throw on. Jeff didn't throw on because the first thing that ends up happening is you break the mirrors off on most of these rigs. So he decided not to put them on, but he put all the rest of the little accessories on. We got the light, light plastics, whatever those are called. A bunch of little plastics on the back. We got the fuel door, some handles, little clips, little fake clips for the hood. Isn't it cute? So yeah, overall, really love the scale aspect of this body. Good looking body. Great job putting it together and on the paint, Jeff. He's a good painter. So next up, on to the actual rig. So Jeff built it. He built it right when it first came out and said that there were a few issues in the instruction booklets, but that they have fixed those. So all in all, he said it went together fairly well. The axles are just like the capper axles. The transmission, he said that he did have a little bit of problem with, and I believe it may have just been the first version as far as the instructions were concerned. They didn't tell you what bearings went where or something to that nature, but all in all, he did say it went together fairly smoothly and easily. Now we can see that it comes with the molded fender flares on there, pretty much a fully covered underneath space. It's not really an interior because they have the interior built into the body on this one. And then they have this neat little scale motor on there, which I didn't even notice at first that it was only half of a scale motor. If you go to look really closely in there, it's just a shroud over the top and kind of a front looky-loo part. It just looks good pretty much. But to me, I'm not a super scale enthusiast, although maybe I play with scale dolls here and there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. At any rate, it is, I would say, a pretty good scale rig. Now, let's see if we can get a close-up on this panhard, on this 3-link here. So this little bar, this panhard bar is really bent. It is really thin, and wow, did they do a good job of tucking that guy in. Everything bottoms out at just the right time, and everything clears that little panhard bar. all in all, you know, judging by what I've done so far on the bench, their link geometry, steering geometry, just the entire suspension geometry is spot on, which, to tell you the truth, I expect from Axial at this point. They have been doing this long enough that they're probably not going to release a dud of a rig. And good to know that this one isn't a dud of a rig. I will show you here with a knife. The plastics on this rig are something else. Best way for me to put it. The fenders are nice and flexible plastic. It's kind of, you know, more of a typical plastic that you would see, the sort of plastic that the bumpers should be made from, and I can actually confirm that they seem to be a really similar hardness. Yeah, that seems to be the same plastic on the bumpers, which you kind of want the bumpers and something like this to be nice and flexible. But when we go to the axle housings, it's a really hard plastic, extremely hard plastic. This is the hardest plastic that I have seen from Axial. Really high, what I would assume is a really high glass content nylon. Just, you know, not even letting me gouge it with a knife there. It's you know, the skid plate, the transmission housing, really just all of the hard parts they made out of a really hard plastic, which is awesome to see. Now, long term, that may cause some issues with it breaking in cold weather. You know, you take a big tumble and you know, there's a chance that you may break some of the axle housings or something. But I don't want to, you know, armchair quarterback whether or not we're going to break this. I'd rather just try to break it on the rocks, right? Comes with metal links. Thank you for finally including metal links on everything. It's no fun to have wet noodle rods on there. Just yeah, not a good plan. The shocks, these are probably some of the best shocks I have seen from Axial. I let this rig sit for a while, and it didn't have the normal stiction that the stock Axial shocks normally have. Maybe Jeff just did a great job at assembling them. He said he didn't do anything fancy, although he used some 30-weight shock oil. I forget if he said it was Associated or Losi oil. But, you know, that's not going to make much difference on the stiction. So, you know, take that for what it's worth at least. Take it with a grain of salt. Take it with something, maybe a shot if you prefer. The only other thing that I will say is that he did not build it with a 2-speed. He did not build it with dig. Both he and I are pretty much on the same page as that. We're just going out for fun. Neither of those things are really items that we care about so much. It's easy enough to just put a fast enough motor in there that it does what it needs to do. Speaking of electronics, he's running some Tone Energy pack. Looks like a 1600 milliamp hour 3-cell, probably 25 or 35C pack, doesn't really matter. Sidewinder 4, normally he'd be running the BRXL, but we happen to be out of the BRXL at the time. I programmed the Sidewinder for the same as the programming videos that you can see. The only difference that I did on this one is that I added a curve on the brake profile so that we would also have a nice gentle reverse. As you may have seen on some of the previous videos, we had a nice jerky reverse, and that actually will solve it for us. He is running the SHV 500 V2 at the time. We didn't have the V3 in, so he put the V2 in there, and he did make a note that there was some slight modifications needed to fit this in. So a little bit of clearancing, I think, on the width in between the scale motor housing or something like that. But just to be forewarned, almost every servo in the market is going to need a little bit of clearancing to fit into this rig. So just a heads up, you probably have to get out the Dremel. For the motor, we are running a Crawl Master Sport 550 in a 12 turn. Nice and smooth, the 550 fits just fine, and that gives us better drag brake. I always will err on the side of a larger motor because I like to have the extra torque, I like to have the extra power, and I like the predictability in drag brake and torque that the longer motors give. So, just a personal preference. If you can fit a 550 in there like you can on this one, especially in the lower cost motors, it's usually a better idea to use a slightly larger motor, and everybody's happy. The motor is happier, the rig's happier, the driver is happier, everybody gets a win in this situation. So putting the body back on, pretty straightforward. We just kind of cinch her down there, make sure that it's nice and tucked behind the bumper there. Flip her over. And then install the body pins again. And I don't even got big hands, but this is a little tight. I think it's probably easier if you can get your steering out of the way. But since you got to plug it in before you put the body on, you know, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I reckon. So with the stock gearing, 3-cell LiPo, and the Crawl Master Sport 12-turn, and the good programming on the Sidewinder 4, we can get a pretty slow creep. I do not believe there's any expo in this radio. It is just set up normally. Yeah, no expo. So nice and slow. It's about as slow as you'd want to go. I mean, it gets boring when you go too slow, honestly. We're good to have that good tractable low end though. And then a little bit of top speed. Just right, in my opinion. And if you want more than this, they got the 2-speed transmission, but just right. And I have a medium drag brake ramp. As you can see, it kind of just slows down. And the drag brake ramp is actually working today. I only put in 50% reverse speed on this. We'll see if I change my mind about liking that. You know, it is what it is. Hopefully we won't fall over backwards. I have extremely little wheeling time with this. So what I'm gonna do is see if it goes up our hard section. This section of rocks is really more for comp rigs, honestly. So if an RTR can make it up this section, then it is an extremely capable, ready to run rig. Now I will say I really dig the width of this. I like how it has the portals similar to a Capra axle, although tisk, a Jeep with portals, that's, this should have been the Unimog, but I'm not gonna complain too much about a nice new engineered rig, fully engineered rig. But maybe one day they will release the Unimog with these axles. All right, so here's the hard portion. If I can get that rear left tire to hook, hey Billy Bob, go nice and easy with it. If I can get her to hook, and I'm sure all these mulberries are gonna help out. And for the body, oh yeah, oh we got it. I was gonna say for the body, we got a pretty low center of gravity, honestly, for having such a tall body on here. There we go, wow. For an RTR rig, it passed the hardest test, for sure. So, as far as a capable rig, man, you throw, you know, take off some of the scale accessories, take out the fender flares, and throw a nice light competition body on this platform, and wow, it'll be ready to go. So far, what I have noticed is definitely a lack of torque twist. And that could be partially due to the portal axles and partially due to incredibly good suspension geometry from Axial, which is what we expect from them, of course. I know they're a leader in the industry. They better have leading suspension geometry. But I'm really noticing no torque twist, very predictable suspension geometry. And what we really need is a driver upgrade. But this is a really hard section though. Got to use a little bit of wheel speed bump. It's made for a little bit taller 1.9s, honestly, to get through. So if I can make this, oh man, it's sticking. These Pro lines are sticking. The geometry is really holding this rig down. And if we had a little bit more traction, the powdery limestone is just, it does no favors to tires and traction. But a little wheel speed bump at the right time and I could probably get it. All right, I'm gonna line up a little bit differently here. See if I can force my way up. All right, so the bumpers in the rear at least are being a little bit tricky. So I'm gonna just line back up on an angle that I know this rig size should be able to do. The front bumper might get us. I think that may be why I didn't get this front line at first. Oh man, it's right there. Sorry, Jeff, don't want to hurt your rig too much. All right, hook. Oh, it was there. It wants to do it. It really wants to do it. I'd almost have to modify this course because of the wheelbase and the tire size. Again, in a slightly larger tire size. Actually, I am going to modify just a little bit. this hole right there. That's what's hurting us. And for the sake of testing this rig, I just want to see if it'll pull this line. Yeah, see a little helper rock in the right spot. Oh, and clearance for days with portals. You can just beat it through the rocks. Who cares about where you're going? Just point and shoot. We got that portal hung up probably on the rear. Yeah, hang up on the pumpkin. So I'm gonna, yeah, no, portals aren't infallible. So really impressed that it's able to just make these sections, honestly. Ready to run, or kit rig, whatever you want to call it. A scale rig, not just a competition style crawler. Doing really good out of the box. Yeah, we got a little hang up on the slider. The transition from the fender flares to the slider could be, you know, a little bit more competitive. But again, this is a scale rig, and I can armchair quarterback little details all day long. When in reality, I am quite impressed. Oh yeah, just as predictable as it could be. We've had no weird unloading. Really have gotten into no spots to where I would question the geometry as it pertains to the roll center. Yeah. So I have so many rigs that I'm not looking for a new one. But if I was in the market for a new rig and I wanted to build a kit, maybe they have the RTRs out by now, maybe they don't, I would not hesitate to recommend this one. You know, maybe it's a little too much with the 2-speed, maybe it's a little bit too much having the dig function on there. However, you don't have to build it with that. As we see here, you can still do the forward motor style with the transmission. Now, I would like to point out one thing we did notice. Since it's a 2-speed transmission, there is a lot of play in the transmission. So all this rollback, you maybe hear it on my mic. That is due to it being a 2-speed. And I will say, compared to something like a TRX4, there's a lot more gear lash in that than the TRX4 has. So maybe a detriment to this particular rig. However, most people aren't going to even notice it. I'm getting nitpicky on it. But just to be aware, if you are looking to use this for a comp rig, those little rollbacks when your drivetrain lash unloads and reloads can get you reverse penalties. So if you're looking to compete, this may not be the proper platform. Maybe go for the SCX10 that has the old style 3-gear transmission. Not only is it lighter, it's less complicated, and it doesn't have nearly so much lash in the transmission. So, you know, and these even have portals with lots of gear down, so it's hiding a lot of that gear lash. If you went to a non-portal style axle, there'd be even more. So just something to look out for. I would say that's really about the only downside that I can find about this rig. Yeah, 2 thumbs up. I definitely love the way this thing wheels. I love the way that it looks, and I'm just gonna wheel out here for a while. If you do have any more questions about the rig that I did not answer because I didn't really ask you any questions, put them down below and I will do my best to get to them. As always, thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.